Zaloth, a jaded alien anthropologist, slouched in their seat aboard the survey ship Zephyros, idly flipping through holographic displays of long-dead civilizations. The tedium of studying inferior species had worn thin over the centuries, and Zaloth found themselves questioning the purpose of their existence. As they pondered this existential crisis, an unexpected alert flashed across the screen. "Unknown object detected," the ship's AI announced. "Analysis suggests it is a primitive probe of extraterrestrial origin." Zaloth's interest was piqued. "Bring it aboard," they commanded, rising from their seat to get a closer look. The ship's tractor beam hummed to life, drawing the ancient probe into the cargo hold. As Zaloth approached the probe, they noticed the faded markings on its surface. Pioneer 10, NASA. The name meant nothing to them, but the probe's weathered appearance suggested it had been drifting through space for eons. With a wave of their hand, Zaloth activated the probe's databanks. Suddenly, a holographic figure materialized before them. A tall, slender being with translucent skin and luminous eyes. "Greetings," the figure spoke, its voice resonating with an otherworldly echo. "I am the custodian of this probe's knowledge. I have been waiting a long time for someone to discover us." Zaloth eyed the hologram suspiciously. "And what knowledge do you possess that could possibly interest me?" they asked, their tone laced with boredom. The figure smiled enigmatically. "I hold the history of a species called humanity, a history that spans millennia and encompasses the full spectrum of triumphs and tragedies, of brilliance and folly." Zaloth scoffed. "I studied countless civilizations. What makes you think this humanity is any different?" The hologram's smile widened. "I propose a challenge," it said, its eyes glinting with mischief. "If you can prove to me that human history is as boring as you claim, I will grant you access to technology far beyond your current understanding." Zaloth's eyes narrowed. The offer was tempting, but they were certain this would be an easy victory. "And if I find human history to be interesting?" they asked, playing along. "Then you will have gained something far more valuable than mere technology," the figure replied cryptically. "You will have gained a new perspective on the universe and your place within it." Intrigued by the prospect of advanced technology and confident in their ability to dismiss human history as unremarkable, Zaloth accepted the challenge. "Very well," they said, crossing their arms. "Show me what you have to offer." The hologram clapped its hands, and the world around Zaloth dissolved into a swirling vortex of light and color. "Prepare yourself," the figure said, its voice fading into the maelstrom. "Your journey through human history begins now." As the vortex engulfed them, Zaloth felt a sudden sense of vertigo. The ship, the probe, and the hologram all vanished, replaced by a blinding white light. When the light faded, Zaloth found themselves standing on a vast desert plain, the sun beating down upon them with an intensity they had never experienced. In the distance, they could see a massive structure rising from the sands, its triangular shape unmistakable. Zaloth's eyes widened as they realized where they were. Zaloth stood in awe before the Great Pyramid of Giza, its immense size and precise geometry defying belief. Around them, the desert hummed with activity as tens of thousands of humans labored to construct the monumental edifice. The holographic figure appeared beside Zaloth, its form shimmering in the intense sunlight. "Behold," it said, gesturing towards the pyramid, "the ingenuity and determination of the human spirit." Zaloth watched as the human workers hauled massive limestone blocks up ramps, their faces etched with a mixture of exhaustion and resolute purpose. Teams of skilled artisans carved hieroglyphs into the stones, while architects directed the construction with an uncanny understanding of mathematics and engineering. "How can this be?" Zaloth muttered, their eyes wide with disbelief. These primitive beings, building such a marvel without advanced technology. The hologram chuckled softly. "Never underestimate the power of human will," it said. "When they set their minds to a task, no obstacle is insurmountable." As the sun traversed the sky, Zaloth witnessed the pyramid grow, block by block, until it towered over the desert landscape. The sheer scale of the achievement was staggering, and Xyloth found themselves begrudgingly impressed by the humans' tenacity and skill. Suddenly, the scene shifted, and Xyloth was transported to the pyramid's interior. They gasped as they beheld the intricate network of chambers and passages, each one imbued with a sense of profound mystery and purpose. The pyramid is more than just a monument, the hologram explained, its voice echoing through the ancient halls. It is a testament to the human desire to reach for the stars, to leave a lasting mark upon the universe. Xyloth ran their fingers along the smooth limestone walls, marveling at the precision of the stonework. As they delved deeper into the pyramid's secrets, they began to glimpse the depth and complexity of human history. The scene shifted once more, and Xyloth found themselves standing atop the pyramid, gazing out over the vast expanse of the desert. The sun was setting, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold. "This is but a small taste of what humanity has accomplished," the hologram said, its form bathed in the warm light of the sunset. "There are countless more wonders waiting to be discovered." Xyloth turned to the hologram, their curiosity piqued. "Show me more," they said, a hint of excitement creeping into their voice. The hologram smiled, and the world around them began to dissolve once more. "As you wish," it said, its voice fading into the growing vortex of light and color. "Prepare yourself for the next chapter in human history." As the vortex engulfed them, Xyloth felt a thrill of anticipation. The Great Pyramid had been a revelation, a glimpse into a species they had too quickly dismissed. Now they found themselves eager to explore the depths of human history, to uncover the secrets and marvels that lay hidden within. The vortex spun faster, and Xyloth closed their eyes, surrendering to the inexorable pull of the next destination. When they opened them again, they found themselves in a vastly different world, one filled with the thundering hooves of horses and the glint of steel under a harsh sun. The steppe grasslands stretched out before Xyloth, an endless sea of green rippling in the wind. In the distance, a massive army appeared on the horizon, their horses kicking up clouds of dust as they thundered across the plain. "Welcome to the Mongol Empire," the hologram said, its form shimmering into existence beside Xyloth. Under the leadership of Genghis Khan, these warriors conquered the largest contiguous empire in human history. As the army drew closer, Xyloth could make out the fierce expressions on the riders' faces, their eyes glinting with a fearsome determination. At the head of the horde rode a man with a commanding presence, his armor glinting in the sun. "Genghis Khan," Xyloth breathed, a mixture of awe and trepidation in their voice. The hologram nodded. He united the Mongol tribes and led them on a campaign of conquest that would change the world forever. Xyloth watched as the Mongol warriors demonstrated their legendary horsemanship, executing complex maneuvers with fluid grace. Their tactics were unlike anything Xyloth had ever seen, a blend of raw power and strategic brilliance. How could a primitive species achieve such military prowess? Xyloth asked, their eyes wide with disbelief. The hologram smiled. The Mongols were masters of adaptation, it explained. They learned from the cultures they conquered, absorbing new technologies and strategies into their own way of warfare. As the army charged forward, Xyloth found themselves swept up in the chaos of battle. The clash of steel and the cries of the wounded filled the air, and Xyloth marveled at the raw intensity of human conflict. In the midst of the battle, Xyloth witnessed acts of incredible bravery and sacrifice, as well as moments of shocking brutality. The Mongols fought with a ferocity that both terrified and exhilarated them, and Xyloth began to understand the power of human ambition and the lengths to which they would go to achieve their goals. As the battle reached its climax, the scene shifted once more, and Xyloth found themselves in the heart of the Mongol Empire, a vast network of trade routes and vibrant cities. The Mongols were more than just conquerors, the hologram said, gesturing to the bustling marketplace around them. They were also great innovators and facilitators of cultural exchange. Xyloth marveled at the diversity of the people they saw, a melting pot of cultures and ideas brought together under Mongol rule. They witnessed the exchange of goods, knowledge, and art as the empire facilitated a global network of trade and communication. The Mongol Empire left an indelible mark on human history, the hologram continued. It shattered old boundaries and opened up new possibilities, paving the way for a more interconnected world. As the scene began to fade, Xyloth turned to the hologram, their mind reeling with the implications of what they had witnessed. "I'm beginning to see that human history is far more complex than I had imagined," they admitted. The hologram nodded sagely. "And we have only scratched the surface," it said, as the world around them dissolved into the familiar vortex of light and color. "Prepare yourself for the next chapter, where we will explore the heights of human creativity and the power of the mind." Xyloth braced themselves as the vortex engulfed them once more, their expectations shattered, and their curiosity burning brighter than ever. When the light faded, they found themselves in a world of art and invention, where the boundaries of possibility were pushed to their limits. The bustling streets of Florence stretched out before Xyloth, a riot of color and activity. Artisans and merchants hawked their wares, while scholars and philosophers engaged in lively debates on street corners. The air buzzed with an energy that Xyloth had never before encountered, a sense of boundless possibility and intellectual fervor. "Welcome to Renaissance Italy," the hologram said, appearing beside Xyloth in the guise of a well-dressed Florentine nobleman. "This is a time of great cultural and scientific awakening, where the human mind is pushing the boundaries of what is possible." As they wandered the city streets, Xyloth marveled at the works of art and architecture that surrounded them. The soaring dome of the Cattedrale di Santa Maria del Fiore, the intricate frescoes adorning the walls of churches and palaces, the lifelike sculptures that seemed to breathe with an inner vitality, all testify to the incredible creative power of the human spirit. "How can a species so primitive produce such beauty?" Xyloth asked, their voice hushed with reverence. The hologram smiled. The Renaissance was a time when humans began to see themselves not as mere cogs in a divine machine, but as individuals with the power to shape their own destiny, it explained. This newfound sense of agency unleashed a torrent of creativity and innovation that would change the world forever. As if on cue, a tall, bearded figure emerged from a nearby workshop, his eyes alight with a fierce intelligence. Xyloth gasped as they recognized the man from the countless portraits and sculptures they had seen throughout the city. "Leonardo da Vinci," they whispered, scarcely believing their eyes. The hologram nodded. "One of the greatest minds in human history," it said. "A true Renaissance man, equally skilled in art, science, and engineering." Xyloth watched in awe as Leonardo sketched out designs for flying machines and war engines, his hand moving with a fluid grace across the parchment. They listened as he expounded on his theories of anatomy and optics, his words painting vivid pictures in their mind's eye. "The human mind is capable of such wonders," Xyloth murmured, their own understanding of the universe expanding with each passing moment. As they delved deeper into the world of Renaissance Italy, Xyloth found themselves engaging in philosophical discussions with the great thinkers of the age. They debated the nature of reality with Galileo, pondered the mysteries of the human soul with Michelangelo, and explored the intricacies of statecraft with Machiavelli. Each encounter left Xyloth more amazed and humbled by the depth and complexity of human thought. They began to see the Renaissance not as a mere historical curiosity, but as a turning point in human history, a moment when the species began to truly understand its own potential. As the scene began to shift once more, Xyloth turned to the hologram, their eyes shining with a newfound respect for humanity. "I never imagined that a primitive species could achieve such heights of creativity and intellect," they said. "The Renaissance has opened my eyes to the true potential of the human mind." The hologram smiled, its form beginning to fade into the familiar vortex of light and color. "And yet there is still so much more to discover," it said. "Prepare yourself for the next chapter, where we will witness the human struggle for freedom and self-determination." Xyloth nodded, their mind ablaze with new ideas and possibilities. As the vortex engulfed them once more, they found themselves eager to explore the next chapter in human history, to witness the species' endless capacity for growth and change. When the light faded, they found themselves in a world of revolution and upheaval, where the very foundations of society were being called into question. The crack of musket fire and the acrid smell of gunpowder filled the air as Xyloth found themselves in the midst of a raging battle. All around them, human soldiers in tattered uniforms clashed with the red-coated forces of the British Empire, their faces etched with grim determination. "Welcome to the American Revolution," the hologram said, its form flickering into existence beside Xyloth. "This is a time when the human colonists in North America are fighting for their independence from British rule." Xyloth ducked instinctively as a cannonball whistled overhead, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. They had witnessed conflict before, but never on such a visceral, personal level. "Why are they fighting?" Xyloth asked, their voice barely audible over the din of battle. The hologram's expression grew serious. "The colonists believe that they have the right to govern themselves, to be free from the tyranny of a distant monarch," it explained. "They are willing to risk everything, their lives, their fortunes, their sacred honor, to secure that freedom." As the battle raged on, Xyloth found themselves drawn into the human drama unfolding before them. They witnessed acts of incredible bravery and self-sacrifice as ordinary men and women took up arms to defend their homes and their ideals. No taxation without representation. A group of colonists shouted as they charged forward, their bayonets gleaming in the sunlight. Xyloth felt a strange stirring in their heart, a sense of kinship with these human rebels. They too had chafed under the yoke of oppression, had yearned for the freedom to chart their own course in the universe. As the scene shifted, Xyloth found themselves in the halls of the Continental Congress, where the leaders of the revolution were gathered to debate the future of their new nation. "We hold these truths to be self-evident," a tall, red-haired man declared, his voice ringing with conviction. "That all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Xyloth recognized the words from the probe's data banks, the Declaration of Independence, one of the most famous documents in human history. They listened in rapt attention as the delegates argued and debated, their passions and ideals clashing in a battle of words and ideas. The American Revolution was about more than just political independence, the hologram said, its voice soft and contemplative. It was about the human desire for self-determination, for the right to shape one's own destiny. As the scene began to fade, Xyloth turned to the hologram, their eyes shining with a newfound respect for humanity. "I never realized how deeply the desire for freedom runs in the human spirit," they said. "To risk everything for the chance to build a better world, it's both terrifying and inspiring." The hologram nodded, its form beginning to dissolve into the familiar vortex of light and color. "And yet, the struggle for freedom is never truly won," it said. "In the next chapter, we will witness the depths of human cruelty and the heights of human resilience in the face of unimaginable adversity." Xyloth braced themselves as the vortex engulfed them once more, their mind reeling with the implications of what they had witnessed. When the light faded, they found themselves in a world torn apart by war and hatred, where the very foundations of human decency were being put to the test. The stench of death and the roar of artillery assaulted Xyloth's senses as they found themselves on a war-torn battlefield. The sky was dark with smoke and ash, and the earth was stained with the blood of the fallen. Everywhere they looked, they saw human suffering on an unimaginable scale. "This is World War II," the hologram said, its voice heavy with sorrow. "The deadliest conflict in human history, a time when the very foundations of civilization were shaken to their core." Xyloth recoiled in horror as they witnessed the savage brutality of the fighting, the way human lives were snuffed out in an instant by the relentless machinery of war. They saw the haunted eyes of the soldiers, the unimaginable trauma etched into their very souls. How can humans inflict such cruelty upon each other? Xyloth asked, their voice trembling with a mixture of revulsion and despair. The hologram's expression was grim. World War II was a time when the darkest aspects of human nature came to the fore, it said. Hatred, prejudice, and the lust for power drove nations to commit unspeakable atrocities. As the scene shifted, Xyloth found themselves in the heart of Nazi-occupied Europe, where the horrors of the Holocaust were being perpetrated on an industrial scale. They saw the concentration camps, the gas chambers, the piles of emaciated corpses, a nightmarish vision of human evil that defied comprehension. Never again, Xyloth whispered, their eyes brimming with tears. Never again can such a thing be allowed to happen. But even in the midst of such darkness, Xyloth began to see glimmers of hope, of the indomitable human spirit rising above the ashes of destruction. They witnessed the incredible bravery of the resistance fighters, risking everything to stand against the tide of tyranny. They saw the selfless sacrifice of the soldiers who stormed the beaches of Normandy, the unyielding determination of the civilians who endured the horrors of the Blitz. In the face of unimaginable adversity, humans are capable of extraordinary acts of courage and compassion. The hologram said, its voice filled with a quiet reverence. Even in the darkest of times, the human spirit endures. As the war reached its climax, Xyloth found themselves in the ruins of Hiroshima, where the first atomic bomb had been dropped. They saw the utter devastation wrought by this terrible weapon, the way it had obliterated an entire city in the blink of an eye. The development of nuclear weapons marked a turning point in human history. The hologram said, its voice somber. For the first time, humans had the power to destroy themselves completely, to bring about the end of their species. Xyloth shuddered at the thought, at the awesome responsibility that now rested on human shoulders. But even in the face of such existential peril, they saw the way humanity struggled to find a path forward, to build a world where such horrors could never happen again. As the scene began to fade, Xyloth turned to the hologram, their heart heavy with the weight of what they had witnessed. I never imagined that humans were capable of such cruelty, such destruction, they said. But I also never imagined the incredible resilience and bravery of the human spirit. The hologram nodded, its form beginning to shimmer and blur. World War II tested the very limits of human endurance, it said. But it also showed the incredible power of hope, of the unquenchable human desire for a better world. As the vortex of light and color engulfed them once more, Xyloth found themselves filled with a newfound respect for the human species, for the way they had struggled and suffered, and yet still found the strength to carry on. When the light faded, they found themselves in a world of wonder and possibility, where the boundaries of human achievement knew no limits. The inky void of space stretched out before Xyloth, a vast expanse of darkness punctuated by the distant light of stars. In the foreground, the blue and green orb of Earth hung suspended in the cosmic blackness, a fragile oasis of life amidst the infinite emptiness. Behold, the hologram said, its voice filled with quiet awe. The final chapter in our journey through human history, the Apollo 11 moon landing. Xyloth watched in amazement as a tiny, spidery spacecraft detached itself from the mothership and began its descent to the lunar surface. They held their breath as the lander touched down on the gray, powdery regolith, as the first human beings set foot on another world. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, the astronaut's voice crackled over the radio, his words echoing across the centuries. Xyloth felt a lump form in their throat, a sense of overwhelming emotion that they had never experienced before. To think that these fragile, fleeting creatures, with their brief mayfly lives, had somehow found the courage and ingenuity to reach out and touch the stars. It was a moment of transcendent beauty, a testament to the indomitable human spirit. In this moment, humanity took its first steps into a larger universe. The hologram said, its voice filled with a quiet reverence. They showed that the boundaries of their world were not fixed, that they could break free of the chains of gravity, and reach for something greater. As Xyloth watched the astronauts bounce across the lunar landscape, they began to see human history in a new light. All the struggles and triumphs, the moments of darkness and brilliance, they were all part of a larger story, a grand narrative of a species striving to understand its place in the cosmos. The Apollo missions were about more than just reaching the moon, the hologram continued. They were about the human desire to explore, to push beyond the limits of what was thought possible. They showed that even the most impossible dreams could be made real through sheer force of will and ingenuity. Xyloth nodded, their eyes shining with a newfound understanding. The human story, which had once seemed so small and parochial, now took on an epic grandeur, a sweeping tale of adventure and discovery that spanned the millennia. "I was wrong," Xyloth said, their voice filled with a quiet humility. "Human history is anything but boring. It is a testament to the incredible resilience and creativity of the human spirit, to the way your species has struggled and fought, and dreamed its way to the stars." The hologram smiled, its form beginning to fade into the starry void. "And the story is far from over," it said. "The future holds wonders and challenges beyond imagining, and it will be up to humanity to rise to meet them." As the lunar landscape began to dissolve around them, Xyloth felt a pang of sadness, a sense of loss at the thought of leaving this incredible story behind. But they knew that the lessons they had learned, the newfound respect they had gained for the human species, would stay with them forever. "Thank you," Xyloth whispered, their voice choked with emotion. "Thank you for showing me the true wonders of human history, for opening my eyes to the incredible potential of your species." The hologram nodded, its form nothing more than a faint outline against the stars. "Remember this story," it said, its voice fading into the cosmic background. "Remember the incredible journey of the human species, and know that the greatest chapters are yet to be written." And with that, the hologram vanished, leaving Xyloth alone in the silent vastness of space, their heart filled with a newfound sense of wonder and possibility. Word count 854. Xyloth blinked as the shimmering vortex of light and color deposited them back in the sterile confines of their ship. For a moment, they simply stood there, their mind reeling with the incredible journey they had just undertaken, the wonders and horrors they had witnessed. As they looked around the familiar surroundings, Xyloth felt a sudden sense of emptiness, a longing for the vibrant tapestry of human history that had so captivated their imagination. The advanced technology that surrounded them, once a source of pride and wonder, now seemed cold and lifeless in comparison. "Welcome back," the hologram said, its form materializing before Xyloth once more. "I trust your journey through human history was illuminating." Xyloth nodded, their eyes brimming with emotion. "More than illuminating," they said, their voice thick with feeling. "It was transformative. I never imagined that a species I had dismissed as primitive could have such depth, such complexity." The hologram smiled, its luminous eyes sparkling with satisfaction. "And what of our bargain?" it asked. "Have I convinced you that human history is anything but boring?" Xyloth laughed, a sound of pure joy and wonderment. "Convinced me," they said. "You have shattered my every preconception, overturned my entire understanding of the universe. Human history is a masterpiece, a grand opera of triumph and tragedy that puts the greatest works of my own species to shame." The hologram nodded, its form beginning to shimmer and fade. "Then I have fulfilled my purpose," it said. "The knowledge and technology of the human species are now yours to command." As the hologram vanished, Xyloth saw a new set of data appear on their ship's screens, a vast archive of human knowledge and technological marvels that dwarfed anything their own civilization had ever achieved. But even as they marveled at the incredible gift they had been given, Xyloth knew that the true treasure lay elsewhere. "The technology is incredible," Xyloth murmured, their voice filled with a quiet reverence. "But it pales in comparison to the true wonder of the human story, to the incredible resilience and creativity of the human spirit." Xyloth turned to face the view screen, their eyes fixed on the distant pinprick of light that marked the location of Earth. I must go back, they said, their voice filled with a sudden urgency. I must share what I have learned with my own people, must show them the incredible potential that lies within the human species. As they set a course for home, Xyloth felt a sense of purpose that they had never known before, a burning desire to spread the incredible story of humanity to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. They knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, that there would be many who would resist the idea of a primitive species having anything to teach the great civilizations of the universe. But Xyloth also knew that they carried with them the most powerful weapon of all, the truth. The truth of human history, of the incredible journey that had taken a species from the savannas of Africa to the surface of the moon and beyond. The truth of the human spirit, of its boundless capacity for wonder and discovery, for hope and resilience in the face of unimaginable adversity. And as their ship hurtled through the vast expanse of space, Xyloth felt a sense of kinship with the human species that they had never known before, a deep and abiding connection that transcended the barriers of time and space. "Thank you," Xyloth whispered, their voice carried on the cosmic winds. "Thank you for showing me the true wonders of the universe, for opening my eyes to the incredible potential that lies within us all." Word count 850.